Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Toastmasters International District 13 Area 2 Open House. My name is Julia Wick, and I am the Area 2 Director and President of Moon Toastmasters Club. It is an honor and a pleasure to serve as your Toastmaster for today's event. Before we begin, I wanted to note that this meeting is being recorded, so if you do not wish to be on camera for the duration of the meeting, please feel free to keep your camera off. Toastmasters International is a nonprofit educational organization that teaches public speaking and leadership skills through a worldwide network of clubs, serving more than 364,000 members in more than 16,200 clubs across 145 countries. Toastmasters truly is where leaders are made. To those of you joining us for the first time, each Toastmasters Club meeting follows a standard format, and each club will integrate their own unique style or themes to their meetings. To kick things off today, I wanted to honor one of the Moon Toastmasters Club's traditions, where the presiding officer opens the meeting with a historical fun fact or tidbit. Today, June 2nd, is National Rocky Road Day, a celebration of chocolate, marshmallow, and nuts. In the US, the most popular way to eat Rocky Road is an ice cream. And if we had the opportunity to hold this event in person, we might have offered Rocky Road ice cream as part of the refreshments after. I truly hope that that's something that we can begin to do again soon. With that, I'd like to review our agenda for today. We're going to start with the welcome and the club mission, followed by the presentation of the words of the day. Next, we're excited to host a panel discussion with members of our Area 2 Club sponsors. We'll then go through the general evaluator recap and wrap up with Q&A. And now for the club mission. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Now, I would like to introduce Barb Panilla, who is the Bay Friends Vice President of Education, and she will be serving as our timer today. Barb, welcome to the stage.
Great. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I am the timer for today's meeting, and the purpose of the timer role is to keep the meeting on schedule. Every role and speaker have an allotted amount of time to speak in order to accomplish all of the meeting agenda goals. In today's meeting, you will see a green, yellow, and possible red color-coded backdrops behind me, signaling to the panelist speaker awareness of achieving their minimum speaking time of at least 1 minute when I will display the green card. And at 1:30, I will display the yellow backdrop, and at possible 2 minutes for the maximum speaking time when I will display a red card. The red card informs the speaker that it is about time to succinctly wrap up their speaking time in order to keep things on track with the agenda for the day. As we all build rapport, let's evaluate how our effusive speakers keep time speaking today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Barb, for that wonderful explanation of the timer role and the review of our timer flags. I would now like to introduce Cheryl O'Connell, who is going to be our grammarian and our general evaluator for today. Cheryl is a distinguished Toastmaster and the current president of the Bay Friends Toastmasters Club. Cheryl, welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much. Are you displaying the slides? Thank you. Welcome everybody today. In every Toastmasters meeting, someone is the grammarian. The purpose of this role is to listen to everybody who speaks and then provide feedback to the speakers about what their language, how they used it during the meeting. This is our opportunity to learn things about the crutch words that we use and any grammatical errors that we might make. In what work meeting do you get feedback like that? Another part of the grammarian role is to present the word of the day. This is a word that all speakers will try and use during the meeting to expand their vocabulary. In today's meeting, I actually chose 3 words. You don't usually see that, but I wanted to give us a broad view of things. I chose 3 words because I thought all of these presented some part of the culture of Toastmasters. Now, when you hear them being used, you can snap your fingers or clap to congratulate the speaker for their effort. For today's meeting, the 3 words are effusive, which is an adjective marked by an expression of great or excessive emotion or enthusiasm. And I thought that picture of that little boy just said that word. We also have rapport, which is a noun, and it is a relationship characterized by agreement, mutual understanding, or empathy that makes communication possible or easy. And again, I thought those 3 girls, you can tell by that picture that they have rapport. Finally, moxie. Moxie is a noun, and it is the energy, pep, courage, determination, and know-how. And really, who better than a dance instructor to show those? But I think you're going to see all 3 of these as well in today's meeting, as well as just everything you will ever do with Toastmasters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheryl, so much for that effusive presentation of the words of the day. It sure took a lot of moxie to challenge our speakers with 3 words instead of 1. As I mentioned earlier, Toastmasters International is made up of a network of clubs across the world. I'd like to take a minute now to explain how our organization is structured. The clubs are grouped together into areas consisting of 4 to 6 clubs. In the case of Area 2, there are 4 clubs, 2 community clubs, Bay Friends and Moon, and then 2 corporate clubs, Charrington and Covestro. Charrington is open to employees of Eaton, and Covestro is open to employees of Covestro. There are currently 78 active clubs across District 13. Each of those clubs, again, rolls up into an area. They then roll up into a division. We are in Division A. Division A then rolls up into a district, which is District 13, and then up into a region. As the area director, I am the direct liaison between the clubs and the district, and I am there to support and empower the clubs to achieve their goals and provide a quality club experience for their members. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. I would like to introduce Becca Hayes, treasurer of the Moon Toastmasters Club and moderator of our panel discussion today. Welcome, Becca.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and welcome to everyone, and thank you all for participating in today's open house. This is a great opportunity to present in front of you all some of the benefits and opportunities that Toastmasters can offer you. So as Julia said, I am part of Moon Toastmasters. I have been a part of the club since September of 2020, and right off the hop, I learned so much about myself and my presentation skills and what I was lacking. So it's with great pleasure that I am here to help encourage others to participate and learn a little bit more about their selves. So with that, I'd like to introduce our panel. So first we will start with Sharab. So Sharab, if you want to give a little bit about yourself, tell us the club you are a part of, and a little fun fact.
So, hi, I'm Saurabh, and I've been part of the Cherrington's Corporate Toastmasters Club for the last 3 years. And a fun fact about me is I want to climb Mount Everest one day.
That is pretty fantastic, and kudos. Please let me know if that happens. I want to see pictures.
Okay.
And next we will go to Carla. Carla, please introduce yourself and give us a little fun fact about yourself.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm Carla Sartori. I'm a member of actually 2 clubs. I have a work club, which is my Bear Toastmasters. And then we've created a community club called Bay Friends, which is some former Bear employees. And it's a community club and it's open to all members. I'm a brand manager at Bear and have been a part of Toastmasters for a couple of years now. A fun fact about me is that I recently got to attend like a bee celebrity wedding. A friend of ours, their son married the pioneer woman's daughter, and it was all over social media, in their magazine, and on TV. So it was a really exciting opportunity to attend a wedding coming out of the pandemic with 500 people out in Pasco, Oklahoma. So thank you.
Wow, that must have been absolutely fantastic, and also a little strange to get around people again. I actually am based in Ottawa, Canada. Fun fact about myself, and we have yet to gather in big groups like that, so that must have been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
So next, John, if you can introduce yourself and give us a little fun fact about yourself.
I have to find the unmute button. Thank you, Becca. Hi, folks. John Scabardonis here. I am in the Covestro Toastmasters Club. I'm currently serving as the president, and I am working at Covestro, have been working at Covestro for a couple of decades in a variety of marketing roles. As far as fun facts, you can tell I'm the old guy, but I also enjoy skateboarding. I still skateboard whenever I can. It's a little tough and challenging in Pittsburgh because of all the hills. I got to tell you that. But if you go to Facebook, there's a group called Very Old Skateboarders, and it has tremendous inspiration for me because there are people much older than me that are doing truly crazy, cool things. Check it out. That's very impressive. I know both my brothers did skateboard back in the day, but they quit long ago. So kudos to you. So with that, we will like to start our panel. Again, want to thank all panelists for participating and providing everyone in the open house with your insights and expertise around Toastmasters. So we'll start with you, Sharab. So how has Toastmasters made you more aware of your presentation skills and speaker capabilities?
So Toastmasters has this thing of evaluations on the spot. So basically, if you're speaking in any form in the meeting, you are getting evaluated. So the concept of having a human being evaluate your speech every time you speak is something that brought me into Toastmasters, because basically it speeds up the process where you learn things very quickly. And I actually go one step ahead, and then I ask the evaluators to evaluate me on specific things that I'm working on. So initially when I started, I wanted to work on maintaining my eye contact while speaking in front of the audience, because whenever I used to speak, and if I had eye contact with any of the audience members, I used to just completely go blank. So this is how, like, I used to ask my evaluators to basically evaluate my skill of maintaining my eye contact with everybody while speaking. And I always try to maintain like good rapport with my senior Toastmasters members. And I usually ask them about actionable steps that I can inculcate in my practice, which can help me achieve my goal. So I lack this fact of evaluations that help me develop my presentation skills and my speaking capabilities.
Yeah, that's actually such a valuable point. Is evaluations, you don't realize how valuable they are. I know when I first joined, I learned a lot about myself just from the evaluations, because you're not there watching yourself. You're just projecting your story. So I think that's a very great point, Sharab. Next question for you. In your experience as a Toastmaster, what has been the most impactful thing you've learned?
So I would say the most impactful thing that I've learned from Toastmasters is actually the value of pauses. So whenever you speak, the audience members require some time to actually register the information that you're providing them. So pausing at the right time and for the right amount of time is very important whenever you're addressing any kind of audience. It helps them engage with you better, and you actually make your point very valid because you're pausing at the right moments for them to actually process the information that you're providing. I also learned how to maintain eye contact while I'm speaking, which is a tremendous skill that I've learned, and it has helped me a lot in my personal life as well, because whenever I'm having a conversation with anyone, I'm actually maintaining eye contact with everyone that I'm speaking to, not only to the person who's just right in front of me. This actually impacts a lot in your conversations, and people respect you a little more because you're trying to address everybody in the conversation and trying to make them a part of the conversation that you're having, instead of just one person that you're trying to speak to. So I would say these two things have impacted me the most, and it has helped me. It has helped me in my personal life as well.
Yeah, so true. I know myself, I always found pauses very awkward. And you got to get used to that, right? You got to get used to that little awkward silence because it is impactful if you use it properly. So thanks for that insight, Sharab. Really appreciate your time here today. So next we'll go to Carla. So Carla, how has Toastmasters impacted your life?
I'd say I've built rapport. I've gained some moxie in my presentation and leadership skills, and I'm more effusive when I'm presenting. So there you go. I think I used all 3 words of the day today. Actually, it's really given me an opportunity to polish my leadership skills. And that was one of the main reasons I joined Bear, the Bear Toastmasters, and then again, Bay Friends. I do a lot of presenting to my leadership, and I need to be concise. I need to be able to answer impromptu questions just like this. We call that table topics when we are in a meeting. And that gives you an opportunity to quickly frame up your precise answers in a 1 to 2 minute speaking opportunity. The words of the day are great. It expands your vocabulary. The evaluations help you to refine what you're doing. And one of the incredible things is the network. My network has imploded or exploded, I should say. It is so much broader. I now have met people all over the world, Canada and Europe, all over that. Part of it's through the pandemic, but our Bay Friends is a virtual organization. So no matter where you are, we can meet up every other Wednesday at noon and learn from each other. So it's just a wonderful opportunity to level up in your career and level up in your network. Thank you.
Thanks, Carla. And yes, I do agree. I think Toastmasters, especially with the new world that we're in, has opened up a lot of extra doors. And for instance, I'm based in Canada, as I've mentioned before, and I wouldn't have been a part of this Moon Toastmasters or this open house if it wasn't for the pandemic and the virtual world that we're all forced to live in for a period of time. And to also follow your lead, I've appreciated the rapport that we're building today. So thank you. And also to kind of feed off that virtual world, what benefits from Toastmasters have you discovered since moving to this new world?
Well, just besides the opportunity to perfect my online presenting skills, having that timer, using my notes, presenting infographics or presentations, learning to speak without all of those things as well. In this world where we're on camera all the time, being in touch with timing, what you're saying, how you're not needing crutch words, how you need to think impromptu, are all components that Toastmasters really helps you develop and helps you engage in a much more precise way.
Yeah, it's being on camera every day was definitely an adjustment, and you don't realize how much of an art it is. Yes. And for instance, I'm not looking at the camera because for me, it's more helpful for me to look at you. But if I look at the camera, probably for you seems a little bit more engaging, right? So it's an art that Toastmasters has definitely assisted with.
Yes, and it gives you a chance to practice in a very safe place.
Yes.
With people that support you, share good evaluation and refinement techniques with you without making you feel uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, thanks, Carla, for that insight. And definitely this virtual world it's a learning experience for everyone, but it connects us all a little bit more, right? So thank you for your insights there. So now I will like to move over to John, who is a distinguished Toastmaster. And so to kind of follow the virtual world theme, how has Toastmasters continued to develop your speaker and leadership skills within this new world that we play in? Oh, you're on mute, John, sorry.
Duh. Welcome to virtual meetings. Sorry,
Yeah.
John, you're muted. How many times do I hear that? I have not picked up at that skill yet, but I will tell you one thing that is to me super important is I joined Toastmasters to polish my presentation skills in person, right? And it really, really was super important for me to become relevant, to get that moxie, to get the energy, to actually be able to, just like Saurabh said, look people in the eye and directly communicate and deliver messaging. And here we are for the last 15 months, we're in front of a camera and oops, you still have to get all of those things across, but now you're virtual. People don't see anything other than from here up, from here over, and you can have amazing stage presence. Now you're limited to the camera. If you see me leaning in, you see that all of a sudden I'm trying to get something across to you. The body language becomes much, much more important. I actually interviewed and got my current job virtually, which is, if you think about it, interviewing, does it get any tougher than that? We did it online with people from all over the world. It blew my mind how well I came across. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I mean, Toastmasters was huge. I actually got a testimonial from one of my club members the other day, which really nailed this and drove it home. She's finishing her EMBA. She had to make presentations virtually. The system they were using had the PowerPoint presentation and the speaker's face next to each other, and she needed to, she was told she had to make eye contact with people. Now, when you're reading a presentation, you're reading your PowerPoint slides, that's very obvious. Now, all of a sudden, you have to start looking at different parts of the screen where the different people are supposedly located, and continue to do this while you're delivering in an impactful manner with Moxie. Guess what? She said she got top marks. I see the red flag. I know I'm over time. Back to you, Becca.
Yes, and kind of to reiterate, it is such an art to be able to get your point across, make sure you're engaging the audience as best you can, and Toastmasters gives you that platform to practice it. So when you are in a corporate office or wherever you may be, you have those skills in front of you. So next question for you, John. How did you stay motivated to complete your DTM? Because I know there's a lot of work that goes into it. So how'd you maintain that motivation?
Yeah, DTM, for those who don't know, is kind of the top level in Toastmasters. You go through a bunch of different stages to reach Distinguished Toastmaster. It takes time. It takes several years typically. And I don't know what the record is. Julia may know. I have a feeling somewhere I found it was 2 years, 2.5 years, which sounds ridiculous, like focus like crazy. For me, I joined Toastmasters in 2007, and I didn't get my DTM until 2017. That's 10 years. It took longer than it should have, let's put it that way. However, what I was doing was I was trying to take full advantage of everything that Toastmasters was offering me. Yes, I managed to polish my presentation skills, and I feel that I took them to a level that I couldn't have dreamt I would have reached. You may have picked up my accent. I'm not a native speaker. I wasn't born with English as my mother tongue, and that to me is something that I had to overcome. Toastmasters helped a lot. But there was also a little bit of competition involved. And this is where I'm going to tell a little bit of a personal story. You may know that in Toastmasters, every new member is offered the opportunity to have a mentor, a coach, a person who's got your back. The direct feedback that Sarab was mentioning, that person is trying to get you to become better. In my case, with her bad luck, Cheryl had me as her coach, and that means that Cheryl joined after me. However, she got her DTM before me. You might want to say that now the mentee came back to the mentor and said, yo, you're sleeping on the job, dude. Get it in gear. So I kicked it into a higher gear and essentially got to the DTM. But that's not the end of the journey. The beautiful thing about Toastmasters is now you start at the bottom again and you get to do it all over. And believe me, you're picking up new skills as you're going through this. It really is lifelong learning.
Yeah, and kind of to echo your point, how it's not just, you don't learn just how to provide speeches properly. And that's something that I learned when I first joined is, yeah, it'll help you with the presentation and your speech structure and vocabulary, but there's also a leadership aspect to it that comes along with it. So always valuable, and the more practice makes perfect, right? So, and there's always room for further growth. So I wanted to wrap up this panel. Want to thank you all so much. Let's give everyone a round of applause. Sharab, thank you so much for your feedback. Really agree. Evaluations are key. You don't realize how important they are. Carla, virtual environments, it is a world that we're all still trying to learn, but it looks to me like you're like, you've been in your center the whole time. I've been swaying this whole time I've been talking, so it looks like you're doing just fine in it. And John, thank you so much for providing your motivational details and how you maintain your motivation through getting your DTM. So thank you all again, and enjoy the rest of the open house.
Thank you, Becca. Now we're going to move on to the evaluation portion of our meeting. And I'd like to invite Cheryl O'Connell to the stage, who is our general evaluator. Cheryl?
Hello, everybody. Recently, I had the opportunity to send out a 360 evaluation at work. When I chose from my network who to include in that, I made sure that I included people who I knew were Toastmasters. Now, I didn't do that because I knew that they were friends and they were going to give me this glowing report. Instead, I specifically included them because as Toastmasters, I knew that they would try their best to give me an honest and constructive feedback report. That's what you get in Toastmasters. In any normal meeting, you will see that we devote about half of every meeting just to feedback. So when you think about what Toastmasters is, it's not just communication from the side of giving speeches. Oh, they just give speeches. No, what people are doing is they are providing their speeches, but they are getting, and for those who are giving, feedback. That is a skill that we specifically work on and encourage. You will see that there are people who are set up as speech evaluators in the meeting. The timer, Barb, you saw her doing the backgrounds for the colors. The timer would give a report, and the role that I had with the word of the day, the grammarian, would also give a report. And then everything is wrapped up by an overall evaluation by the general evaluator. We do all of this because Toastmasters is our safe place to practice. It is our opportunity to try out new things, work on a speech for work, or just get comfortable speaking in front of people so that we can do everything else we can do. But this is also our opportunity to get feedback on how we're doing with that. Are we doing hand motions, but guess what? They're down here and you can't see that it's happening. We would be told that. Your boss probably isn't going to, but they're just going to be kind of frustrated that you're not performing as you need to. In the interest of time, though, I am just going to give the overall report for this meeting instead of going into all of the other people that you would normally see in a meeting. So as the general evaluator for today's meeting, first I want to thank Barb as timer. We know that being on time is so important. If you are given a certain amount of time and you take too little or you take too much, neither one is really good. And I know you can think of times in your life when that has happened to you or you have experienced it, right? So thank you, Barb, for keeping us on time. Thank you to Julia and Becca as the Toastmaster and the panel moderator. You had a lot of work, not only in the meeting, but in the preparation for it. We had a dry run of this yesterday, which doesn't always happen. And yet everybody who was putting this together wanted to make it a good event. So we put in the extra work for that. The panel, thank you for providing your answers. And this was an opportunity to do something like a table topics, which is our impromptu speaking in our regular meeting. And for those of you who are guests, what you saw were very crisp answers that people thought about how they wanted to provide the information. And I feel like they gave some really good examples of their experiences in Toastmasters. And I wrote down a few words I was hearing: leadership, practice, mentoring, feedback, network, and virtual. Those were the words that I wrote down. And I wrote them because I want to give credit to you for thinking through your responses to provide the information that you needed. Now, from the grammarian side, I want to thank everyone. I hope everyone was seeing the clapping and the snapping, and I was doing the reaction in Zoom. The word of the day, or the words of the day, were used heavily. And I think it really added to the effusive nature of this meeting that you were able to use them and sprinkle them through. And I hope that through the next weeks, you will find ways to use moxie and rapport, and also see that in what you are doing with your friends and colleagues. So thank you, everybody, for the work that you put in before and during the meeting. And I look forward to seeing future meetings with all of you. And the guests, I hope that you've enjoyed this as well. Thank you for coming. You are the most important people in the meeting. Over to you then, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Cheryl, so much for that wonderful evaluation. I thought you were spot on with every single element of your evaluation. And I echo all of your thanks to the panelists. So thankful for you to participate, and to Becca for moderating the event, and our planning team. Before we get to wrap up, I'm going to share my screen once more. Okay. And I'd just like to review one more time the clubs within Area 2. We have 2 community clubs. Bay Friends, which as you heard is virtual only. They meet the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month at 12 noon Eastern Daylight Time. The Moon Toastmasters Club is currently meeting virtually now, but when we were meeting in person prior to COVID, we actually met at the Thermo Fisher Scientific Building, 300 Industry Drive, every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. We hope to move to a hybrid meeting format in the coming months. Corporate clubs, Charrington, which is open to employees of Eaton. They meet the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month at noon. And then Covestro is open to employees of Covestro, and they meet at the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month at 12 noon. And you'll see all of our clubs have upcoming meetings, and would welcome you to reach out if you have interest in attending as a guest. You're more than welcome to attend as a guest as many times as you'd like. There's really no pressure to join, but you really do get the most benefit and value out of the Toastmasters experience by becoming a member, getting exposed and access to the pathway, the Toastmasters educational program, which is called Pathways. There's learning curriculums that you are able to customize and tailor based on your learning needs and what you want to work on. In the chat, you'll see a link to the contact information capture card. And if you can please submit your name and email address if you have not done so into that link, and we'll follow up with an email with a guest packet of information about Toastmasters and contact information for the clubs here if you're interested in learning more. Of course, Toastmasters is an international organization with more than 16,000 clubs worldwide. If you're not local or you wanted to have a local, we had a lot of different options within Area 2. And if our clubs don't work, there's definitely other clubs out there that will welcome members. If you have friends, family, colleagues, anywhere around the globe, really there's an opportunity for them to benefit from this amazing organization to improve communication and leadership. As a thank you for joining today, we'd like to offer you a complimentary copy of the latest issue of the Toastmasters magazine that is available for download in the chat. And we can now open up the floor to Q&A.
Hi, Julia. I know this isn't a question. I just wanted to make a comment and really to offer thanks to you as well as the other District 13 leadership, because in the face of the pandemic, in the face of these virtual meetings, one of the things that we've started doing recently is to have joint meetings. And for our guests, you may notice that there's a bunch of different clubs that are meeting at the same time. Well, why don't you get all these people to get together at the same time? All of a sudden, you're increasing your rapport with all these other club members from different perspectives, from corporate and open clubs. You get to see speechcraft of the highest level. And truly, I personally find it much, much more fun when you have a ton of people on than when you have a smaller group, the ones that you're used to. This may or may not stay after we return to some semblance of normal. However, I feel it is one of those big advantages that wouldn't have come across unless we have had the type of leadership that we have. So a big thank you to Julia.
Thank you, John, for your kind words. It's been a lot of fun. I love getting to see all my clubs that I'm engaging with all the time by coming to your virtual meeting, your virtual joint meetings. It's been wonderful. Any questions from our guests?
Hey, Julia, this is Corinne.
Hi, Corinne.
So I have a question, if maybe you could discuss a little bit. I think that a lot of people who join Toastmasters are at different points in their speaking journeys with different goals. And it's always really interesting to see somebody who says, hey, I used to not be able to get in front of a room, and look at me now. I'm able to speak, keep people engaged, and not fumble over myself. How does Toastmasters help individuals at different stages of their speaking journey? Because some people may be saying, I can't do anything at all, and I don't even know where to start, where others say, I'm okay at this, but need to improve here. And how do you help people in those different points?
That's a fantastic question, Corinne. And Cheryl, you're raising your hand. You want to take it?
I'll put out an answer for that. We have a member that's part of Covestro who has always said that for people who are those who like to speak, he says that Toastmasters is the place where people who like to talk learn how to speak. And John knows who I'm talking about. And it's true. I can really see the development of this member through the years that I've known him to not just talk, but give really good speeches. And I'm sure that that has come across in his professional life as well. On the other side of things is me. I grew up the daughter of the drama teacher and public speaking teacher of my high school, and I had her for my sophomore year. And that is not me. People would always say, well, what are you going to do in the plays? I mean, your mother is the drama teacher, so what are you going to do in the plays? What I did in the plays was watched them and potentially maybe ran lines with people or pulled the curtain occasionally. That was it. I hate, I should say, public speaking, but I love Toastmasters because I have a professional job. I have to do this. This is my life, is communicating. And Toastmasters gives me that safe place, that network of people that allow me to come out of my shell as an introvert and do what I need to do. And it's also there for the people like everyone else who likes to speak to.
Thank you, Cheryl, so much. And I'll add to that. I think that with communication, we saw that this past year of moving to virtual, you continuously have to adapt to the situation. And I think that that really has led us to develop a whole different set of skills because there was a need to develop these skills. And regardless of whether you're in front of the room, in a smaller meeting, in a boardroom of executives, a meeting with friends, you have to learn different ways to communicate based on your audience and your various comfort levels. The different range of levels of who you're speaking to is going to change the way you feel, the way you react. And the more you can practice being able to be articulate and concise and clear, whether you're in a true leadership role, like a management role or a director role in your organization, or a leader in the community, you have to use those skills in every aspect of your life. So I don't think that anyone's really truly done learning. All of us use communication every day. And even as a parent, you have to communicate with your children and help develop them. So the way that you deliver feedback, the way you learn to take criticism and communicate it in an effective way can help develop your children, people that look up to you as a leader, as a mentor, as a parent. So I hope that that answers your question, Corinne, because I think that there's a lot of benefit, more than you would even know when you think about Toastmasters and hear, oh, that's public speaking. It's really communication and leadership and those soft skills that we might not get to consciously think about every day, but they're incredibly important to develop and continue to develop in order to continue to broaden your network, broaden your journey and your career and your life.
Hi, Julia. This is John Beleza.
Hey, John, how are you?
Good. Thanks for this introduction. It's been very helpful. I have two areas of questions. What if you could describe what a typical first month would be for someone new coming into the program? It would be great to hear it from you all. It may be on your website, but while we're together, it'd be great to hear that. And then secondly, for those who distribute or present information like in a PowerPoint or other means, is that included as part of the presentation practice that you all run?
Yeah, those are fantastic questions. I can certainly answer that, but I want to open it to the panel if anyone wants to jump in. If not, I'm happy to take it.
This is John. I'm just going to jump in with the first part. The typical experience, and by the way, I've done this in the last few weeks, typical experience of a first time member is, if you want to, you get assigned a mentor. And again, what does a mentor do? A mentor looks out for you, tries to understand what your goals are, and tries to give you guidance along the way. A mentor is not a lifetime thing unless you want it to be. Typically, by Toastmasters standards, a mentor hangs out with you for a few months, depending on how fast you want to progress through it. Your mentor will give you some feedback. Your mentor will give you some nudges, gentle stuff. And ideally, you're going to give your icebreaker speech, which is the first speech where you talk to the club and you explain who you are, what you're trying to do. But more importantly, what you get to see in those first few meetings when you become a member is you get to see a little peek behind the curtain to try to see the entire organization that is built into Toastmasters International. It's not rocket science, but there's a heck of a lot of thought that has gone into this thing. And truly, Julia said it, Cheryl said it, Sharab said it. It's a great place where you can practice your speechcraft. And you practice by doing little chunks at a time. It's not all at once. You don't dive into the deep end or get pushed into the deep end. You get to try this. Maybe that won't work for you. Try that, mess with it a little bit, try the different settings, etc. And then you start assembling things. It's something that was asked by the previous question. I have seen people come in, their knees shaking, sweat pouring off when they're trying to give their icebreaker. And a year or two later, they are flying through speeches, blowing people away. It can be done. Okay, back to Julia.
Thank you, John. And to kind of dovetail on the second part of your question, John, there's an educational curriculum pathways that really lets you to customize what your learning experience is going to be. So if you want to focus on leadership, if you want to focus on innovating planning, how to engage humor in your conversation, presentation mastery is one of the pathway curriculum options. And there's these levels. So the first level is foundational, gives you the basics and helps set your baseline of where you are in speaking, how to formulate a speech, how to deliver feedback, how to give an evaluation, how to research a speech. And that's consistent across all 12 paths. The next level, 2 through 5, gives you opportunities to build on the skills that are related to your curriculum. So there's understanding your communication style, understanding your leadership style, and then it helps you really self-assess and really learn and discover more about who you are as a speaker, as a leader. And the upper levels actually let you customize what you want to do. For instance, at one of the higher levels, one of the projects is moderating a panel discussion. And so one of our core team members, Becca, is working on a project, and she'll deliver a speech after this event on how this event was and her experience. And it all ties back to what you want to work on, and the different things, the different soft skills. So you're not just learning how to put a presentation together and speak. It's coordinating the events and the logistics behind. It's working with a team. It's leading a team. It's providing feedback to the team and learning to grow together. In all of those things, for me, has made me a better leader, a better manager. At least I think so, right, Becca?
Absolutely.
I didn't pay her to say that, I promise. So, in short, there's a benefit above and beyond just what you see on the surface. And the more that you engage and meet with the people, that's probably one of the most fun parts of it, is the network, as Carla mentioned, because you actually build relationships with the people in your club. And especially this hit me last year when we went virtual. You're in your little bubble. And then I got to go to Toastmasters and see people from the community that I've built a relationship over the last year and connect with people from around the world. We actually had people Zoom into our meetings from Germany and Sweden. And there were Toastmasters that tried to go to clubs in every country or all 50 states. And it was amazing to see what the move to virtual, the benefit of that through this organization let us do, and we could continue to learn and grow together.
Great, thanks, Julia and John, for that. That was helpful.
Great. Okay, so it is now 12:55 almost, and I want to just be cognizant of people's schedules. We really appreciate everyone coming to this event today. Again, there is the link in the chat to collect your contact information. We will follow up with an email with information. Certainly, I see a lot of familiar names, so if you do know me, you can feel free to reach out. But absolutely, we will follow up with information, and we hope to see you at a future meeting. And hope that you took a lot away from this. And thank you so much. for attending, and to all of our panelists and coordinators today.
Thank you, Julia, for pulling this together.
All right. With that, thank you so much and have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Woohoo!